All right, so I went and bought myself a little mini excavator. It's got 5,000 hours on it. And being used, of course, it's going to need some repairs. I've discovered some things on it, like the 6-way blade. I've got a hydraulic leak right here. The cover that protects that cylinder is all bent up. It needs to be straightened out and re-welded to this bracket. It's only held on by that one bracket over there. This right here is all bent up, protecting the hoses. I gotta fix that. I'm trying to straighten out a lot of this metal, trying to make it look a little better. But overall, it ain't in bad shape. Change the oil. I'm gonna change all the filters that it has, do everything so that I know when everything was changed out on it. I think is the best way to do this. I do have 2 leaks that I've found. One of them is somewhere on the back side of this. It's been leaking for a heck of a long time. I don't know exactly which hose is leaking. So yesterday I cleaned it all up, scraped it all off with a toothbrush and wire brush and rags. I spent an hour in here cleaning that up. And maybe I'll run it for a little while, see where the leak is actually coming from. The other leak I have is on the hydraulic pump itself. This is the main pressure line coming out of it. And I've got hydraulic fluid leaking right here in this connection. And you can see that is loose. So I'm gonna disconnect this hose and I'm gonna give that another twist around, and hopefully that'll solve that leak. It had leaked for a long time too. There's a bunch of oil and it was all crudded up on here, about a 1/4 inch thick. Cleaned all that up, looks a lot better. But I think that's where all this came from, was that one fitting right there. I ordered a thumb for it. It should be here within a week. I'll do a video on putting that on there. Just cap off of here. Alright. Okay, so with the oil filter, it's right there. Easy to get to, and there's, conveniently enough, a hole to let the oil drain out of it when you take it off the block. Isn't that nice of them? Let's see if we can break this thing loose, how tight it is. You can do it by hand. Maybe not. Yeah, it's turning. All right. Last thread. All right, so I got a new oil filter, Kubota. It's plastic. Everything has plastic wrapping on it these days. Make sure you lube up your new gasket. And then I always wipe off where it goes on here too, just to make sure it's clean. Make sure you start it right. You don't want to mess up these threads. Let me get a marker and put the date on it now. You want that pretty snug. Alright, put some oil in it. Shows it just a little bit low, but it's still, you know, easily within the lines. I'm gonna do the fuel filter next. All right, new Kubota fuel filter. Hours, date, all over it, so because I don't know which way it's going to be facing when I get it on there. This one is hidden back, kind of behind this support arm here. I'm going to break that loose by hand. Oh yeah. I think that's a Wix. It is. Trying not to spill diesel everywhere. There we go. There is fresh hydraulic fluid on these threads here. I can grab it and just wiggle the hose, so obviously it's not tight. But we gotta take this hose off in order to be able to turn that another turn or two. See if I can get this to tighten up another turn. I'm just gonna do it one turn and see if that was enough. I feel like I could turn it another one, but I don't want to risk getting it too tight. I'm still able to move that. I really think I should go another turn. We'll try it. We'll just let it run like that. It didn't leak very much fluid, and it ain't that hard to do. Clean that all up and let it run for a while. See if it still leaks. And if it does, I'll take it back apart and do another turn. Alright, we'll let it run for a while. See if it starts leaking again or not. I think they use this thing to carry rocks or trees or something bad happened. These shields are quite damaged. I think it's thin enough metal that I can take a sledgehammer to it and straighten it out for the most part. I just hope that everything, all the holes line back up, because, you know, usually stuff bends, it won't line back up when you straighten it out. Might have to drill the holes out. But we're going to fix that shield. There's a shield that goes here, and then the big shield that goes across here. So, work on that. I don't think that's too bad. It looks a lot better than it did. Alright, so I got one of that one plate fixed, and I got the other one adjusted a little bit, but not for sure exactly how it fits. So I gotta get this one on there first. You see how bent up that is? Pretty sure it's supposed to be flat. So we're gonna do some hammering on it and see what happens really. Well, that was one of the brackets that bolted it to the plate. All it had was a 1/4 inch of weld. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I got that pretty straight and flat. Now, I'm gonna do the same thing to this side of it. A big curve in it, especially this, actually this end. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be flat. Alright, so it's been about an hour. I didn't record any of this stuff. I was just trying to get it done. Found a bolt that matched those threads. It's a little long, so I put a spacer in it. I got the brackets bent pretty close, but not close enough, so I cut some 1/4-inch angle, and I'm gonna use that as this brace to support it all. Just a piece of 90-degree angle. Got it all tacked in. I'm gonna take it off here, get it all welded up. Hopefully it fits back in. Okay, I didn't do any recording of it, but I got it all mounted up and welded up. It all looks good, all the bolts lined up. It's a lot stronger than it was. I'll probably bring a grinder in here tomorrow. I'm tired. I'm going home. I'll bring a grinder and clean all this up, make it look good. But I don't know if you look back in the video, you remember how mangled up and just hanging there and bent up this thing was. Sure is a lot better. These plates are all straightened pretty close to what they need to be. Stripped that bolt out, so I just welded it to this plate and just made this all one big plate. I fixed the main hydraulic leak in the back, tightened it up, it was loose, and I got a leak underneath the floorboard somewhere. I'm probably just going to get a wrench in there and start testing all the fittings and see if they were loose, because the main hydraulic fitting, the main pressure line out of the hydraulic pump was loose and it was leaking. And also these two fittings, that one there and the one on the other side, were both loose. I got 1 or 2 more leaks underneath there. I don't know how many of those hoses are leaking, but a new thumb should be here next week. We'll get that put on. There's a return hydraulic fluid filter in here. It's a metal filter with, looks like screen and paper on the inside of it. We're gonna do that. We gotta pull all these lines off of here, unbolt these. So it's these 2 lines and the bolts, and I think that just pops up right out of there. Oh, there's an O-ring in there. I didn't know that was there. I got a new one. Darn it. Just let that sit there for a while and drain out. That's a 12, I think. Yeah. Man, I'm gonna go put this in the vise, I think, see if I can do it that way. So what I ended up doing is on the bottom of this filter, it had this nut. I stuck it in my vise and just grabbed the top of it and twisted it loose. The new one I got doesn't have that on the bottom. So I guess if it doesn't have it, I'd just clamp the whole filter in your vise, grab a hold of this top part of it up here and twist it off. Alright, so got it tightened on there. The locking clips in place, tightened down. I think we're good to go to put it back in. Okay, so I got to use this for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours yesterday, non-stop. And I did fix the hydraulic leak on the main line coming out of the hydraulic pump here. I had to turn that 2 times, it was that loose. I also discovered while using it that I don't like where these armrests are. They're too low for me. I want my hands up higher, up on towards the top, especially on this side, because that's how I'm going to operate the thumb, is with that switch. So I made these brackets. They're drying right now, a few coats of paint on it, but they're going to bolt onto the factory bracket there, and then I have these slots for 3/8 bolts, and that way you can adjust it for the user to whatever height you want. Got 2 of those made, just letting them dry up, and I'll put it back on there. But the main thing is, while I was using it, the main reason to use it for that long was to see how bad this leak was that was coming from this cluster right here. There's a lot of hoses on that deal right there. I'll show you, try and show you. There's not a lot of room for a big guy. If you'll see this line, top line right there, it doesn't move. Try. I take this line here, the whole thing wiggles and moves inside there. I'm pretty sure that's where the leak's coming from. But there's a fitting up against that round deal there, and then there's an elbow, and then this fitting on top of that. In order to access all of this and to hopefully turn that tight enough to seal it up, I think I have to take off this hose. That might be the only one. If I take off this hose right here and push it over to the side, it might be enough room for me to get my wrench in there, tighten that up. That is definitely, it's got to be where the leak's coming from. And it's not a slow leak, it's actually coming out pretty fast. So let me get that hose taken off there and see if that's what the right way to do to tighten that fitting up. Okay, here's where we're at. I ended up taking the levers for the track control. I took them off right here. Need 2 14 mils to get them off. I tried to get this hose off, but that thing has been there for its entire life, and it don't want to move it when I took the clamp off. Still couldn't get it off without tearing it up, so I just left it alone. I took off 3 lines. Let's see. This top one right there, there's one right below it, and then this one that was going down into that elbow, and now I can access that. You can see how, I don't know if you can see, maybe you can't, but I can see that moving. So now hopefully I can get a wrench down in there and tighten it up. I'm pretty sure all this leaking and everything has come from that one fitting. So get that taken care of. It's a 22 millimeter, and I was able to tighten it up probably a good turn, maybe a turn a little bit more, but you see it doesn't move now. All right, we'll get this cleaned up, get it all put back together, and hopefully I got lucky and fixed it. I blew all the dirt off of that, just put some old paint I had, just put some paint on it for the heck of it. Why not? I had it out. Here's the new pieces I made. It's time to see if they're gonna work. All right, let's put it this way. Oh, look at that. It might actually work. Oh. The bar's too short. What in the hell? Well, bummer. That is most definitely not what I wanted to happen. Okay, so I went and found a piece of 1/4-inch flat bar, cut it to length, and put a hole on both ends. Some scrap I had. Let's see if this is gonna work. Crap. Probably not getting that nut back.